So I want to dive into your business. What
Okay.
is the business that you started?
Okay. So after selling clothes with LuLaRoe, I branched off and I have my own boutique. So I get to shop and buy the clothes that from wholesalers that I love. But when COVID started, things started changing for my business because people weren't going out anymore. They were working from home. Um, there was no need to buy a lot of clothes, and so I started selling things like candy and treats and home spa items and all kinds of random stuff, even kitchenware. Um, and I still do sell clothes, but I started selling more loungewear because people just weren't getting dressed up. They didn't have any need for it, and so my business evolved into this thing where I just sell anything that I think is unique and that my customers would like.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Can you tell everybody kind of like what it is, what you do?
Yes, so I have a website, opal6.com. Six is always spelled out, SIX. And I also have a Facebook community, and that's where this started. It started with just a group on Facebook. It's called Opal Six Boutique Tribe, and it is a community of women. I think we have like 3,500 women on there now, and I I sell by posting photos and things like that. But the main way that I sell is live. And so I'll go live with tons of random stuff, whether it's new clothes or weird gadgets or jewelry, makeup, all kinds of stuff. And women come together and they watch the live. And it's become a really cool community. Um, Women find it a fun place to meet and they chat while I'm live and I chat with them. And women have become friends through this community. So it's not just me selling things. It's a place for friendship. It's a place where women get together. And one of the things that I find really important is that the clothing that I sell is anywhere from extra small for the petite woman to 3X, even sometimes 5XL, so that is included in everything. So women of all sizes and shapes can feel good in their clothes. And I know that it's not always a pleasant experience for us as women to go to a store and try things on, and sometimes shopping is stressful. And so to make this into a place of fun and been such a cool thing. And the crazy thing is that I started this because I was in crisis and I needed to find a way to make money, and it's evolved into a family. And I have so many new friends that I've met just by them stumbling upon my live sale and getting to know them, and they've come to visit. And um, so I've met a lot of them in person, and even the ones that I haven't met, we talk all the time. So it's become such a cool way to run this business. So if any of your listeners are listening right now on Facebook, I would love to have you join my friend circle at Opal Six Boutique Tribe. And then the six, like I said, is always spelled out SIX.
I love that. I love that. So it seemed this is, I mean, I was watching, like I said, a few of your lives are absolutely addicting, but I can't, you have an array of items. And in the back of my head, as an entrepreneur alongside you at a different level or a different business, uh, the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. Do you mind talking a little bit about the work ethic that is needed in order to actually do what you're doing?
Yes. So one of the things that I had talked about is showing up every single day, and um, taking. So I took a half an hour during my lunch break from work every single day. I made a commitment for an entire year. So between 8:30 p.m. and 9, I went live for 30 minutes. So showing up for those every single day, it's kind of like the analogy of going on a treadmill. So if you want to lose weight, you can't get on a treadmill one time and then get home and be like, oh, I lost all this weight. You have to show up every day. You got to change your eating habits. You have to exercise. You have to do all these things. And eventually you start noticing a change, and then the change gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, showing up to run a boutique every day is really necessary, and engaging with my customers, figuring out what is going to be unique and cool to show during my live. So you need content. So shopping for products, and preparing them and shipping orders afterwards. Yesterday, I hired my 16-year-old stepdaughter, and yesterday her and I spent hours and hours shipping orders out. So much goes into it. You definitely can't just decide, I'm going to buy this box of shirts and go live one day and everybody's just going to come, or I'm going to start a website and people are just going to show up and buy. Like you have to be present every single day that you can. And I think that is really important.
Does anyone else go live except for you?
Yes, my kids, especially my daughter. So my daughter, like I said, she was 2 when I started this business. She is 6.5 now. Her name is Annie, and Annie, it loves all things jewelry and accessories, and so I work a lot. I even like before I had my significant other, I worked a lot more than I do now. And so it was important for me to include my kids in this business because I always had to work. So if I made it a family thing, we were together and they felt a part of what I was doing. And so like I do a lot of shopping in downtown LA, and I'll load up the car with products. And Annie does a thing called Annie's Favorite Things, and she'll go live. So I'll bring back all these really cute kids stuff, and she'll even tell my customers, tell your kids to do chores around the house so that they can earn some money and come watch me live. Everything's like $2 and $3 on her lives. It's like, it's cheap, but it's so cute because she'll go live and she'll have all of her stuff, and I'll see my customers' names show up, because as you're live on Facebook, you can see everybody commenting and who it is, and you can see all these spelling mistakes on the comments, and you can totally tell like it's somebody's 7-year-old or 8. For my daughter now, so she can read the comments and interact, and I'm just there to assist if she needs to, and so she loves it. And even my son just started running my TikTok for me. And like I said, now my 16-year-old stepdaughter, she was told, you can either go get a job or you can work for me. And so she's been working for me. She's doing such a good job, and I have her involved. So it's definitely become like a family thing.
That is so cool. That is so awesome. I'm just imagining the salesmanship that you're creating with that little one on the lives.
It's really important to me. When you work for other people, sometimes they don't always have your best interests at heart, and you're really, really hard with high expectations to make a lot of times not even enough money to pay your own bills.
Yep.
To teach them that if being an entrepreneur is something that they want, they can totally do it.
Yep.
So, getting them involved in this has been really nice. And I hope that they can take these tools and use it in life down the road.
100%. 100%. So I have a question. I'm not sure if I heard you right, but when we were talking previously before the podcast, did you mention that you do classes teaching people how to do what you do?
Yes, I do. And so cool now. So when I first started doing this, you had to buy product and have it on hand, and so much work. So when you have product and you want to sell it on a website, you have to take photos of it. You have to add descriptions and copy to a website. You have to unpack everything, and then sell it and then ship it off. And and it costs so much money. The money that you need to have up front to run a business is pretty crazy. And a lot of times women are in crisis like I was, and don't have that. And so one of the cool things that a lot of people offer are drop shipping. And what that means is that there are lots of vendors here in the United States. A lot of small business owners have businesses where they can sync their products to your website. And when your customers buy from your website, it will automatically let the vendor know that your customers placed an order. That vendor bills you just wholesale. So you're making all the money from the retail value of the goods. And the vendor is shipping it directly to your customer.
Wow.
And when I started downsizing my a little bit when I decided to be more present for my kids. And so everything on my website is done that way by drop shipping. And it frees up a whole lot of time for me, because a lot of women have full-time jobs. They have kids. They don't have the capital to start a business. So all that they need is the money to run their website, which is super cheap. Shopify doesn't charge all that much money every month. I think it's $29.99 to run a website. And I've got tons of vendors, down to like popcorn, like fancy popcorn and coffee, to bath products, to clothing, to graphic tees. And all of these vendors will sync right to your website. So you can have a full website. You can even have a Facebook group where you're posting wall drops. You can order samples, just one of 3 different kinds of popcorn, and go live and eat it. And as your customers buy, it drop ships right from the vendor. So instead of like where I used to buy a giant box of popcorn and put the money out on something that may or may not sell, you are able to use drop shippers to utilize this. And so I started running a class where I teach all the tools to start a business, even a logo, branding, the licensing that's needed for this, and show women how they can start their own boutique without shelling out a ton of money. And it's been just so important for me that other women get out of these situations.
100%. 100%. So what do you have going on in the future? What's your 5-year plan? What do you have planned?
Okay, so my plan is a few things. Focusing on the coaching aspect is huge. I'm also doing some health coaching as well, because I've noticed after COVID, my customers are like, I think a lot of us have gained some COVID weight. I know for me that I had after a day of being stuck at home is, what am I going to eat? Health coaching and business coaching, just helping other people transform their lives into what they really want it to be. And as far as my business goes, my goal is to stay exact. I know that this is probably not the answer that most people give, but my goal is to stay exactly where I am in this, because I know that before I was in crisis mode. And so I'm working so much. And I also had a thing where my ego was a little dependent on how much revenue I was making every month, and my confidence dependent on that. And I needed to, because I was on my own. There was no second income anymore, and so I was always working, and it took a toll on my kids, and there was just no choice but to keep working. And now I have a partner, a responsible partner. And so for me, it's allowed me to take a little bit of a step back with my business. And that's another reason why the drop shipping thing is so great, because while I do work a lot of hours, and I never want to be dependent on a man or anybody else again, so it is important that my goals are high. It is also important that I find the balance and spend the time with my kids that I lost and they're only little for so long. So yeah, so my goal is to keep up my coaching, help as many women as I possibly can, work my boutique to where I am still self-sufficient and spend time with my family and understand balance.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If someone wanted to find you, where would we send them? Where do you want them?
You can follow me on Instagram at Opal6 Boutique. So it's OPALSIX Boutique. And then my Facebook group is my number one place where I want everybody to be, because I want to get to know as many amazing women as I possibly can.
Is that it?
And that's Opal6 Boutique Tribe. So if you search for groups on Facebook, Opal6 Boutique Tribe is where to find me. And then I've got my website, opal6.com.
That's Facebook. And I'll put this on that's the Facebook, right? Opal6 Boutique Tribe.
Yep, there's spaces in between all of the words on Facebook.
Oh, is there? Oh, that's nice. I don't remember that. Oh, I think I was doing Instagram when I first started that, because there's spaces on the Instagram, right? Or is there?
No, that on Instagram it's just Opal6 Boutique.
Is that right?
Yep, that's my Facebook group. So come join and be a part of our community. There's so many amazing women, and they're so supportive of everybody. It's like, oh, it's the best. I love it.
I love that, and it really is. I was impressed with the friendships. You can tell that you've been interacting with a lot of them for a very long time, just with your conversations that you're having live. It's kind of like a big tea party.
So much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So this is the point in the podcast where I like to kind of rear off and just bring some unrelated topics to the table, just to kind of get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. I came up with 5 questions. I like to call it the lightning round 5.
Okay.
Can I ask you these 5 semi-personal questions? It's nothing crazy.
Book.
Okay, cool. So the first one is, who is a non-family member mentor? Someone that you look up to?
I'm going to have to say it's got to be a family member. The answer is my aunt. And I model everything that I do after her. She's in her 70s and she's still working. She's so successful and self-made, and she out every single day, and like she does all the things. And so I want to be her when I grow up.
I love that. She's in her 70s?
Yes, and you wouldn't even know. She takes care of herself.
She's still rocking and rolling?
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's so cool. That's so awesome. What is your go-to restaurant and what do you order?
Sushi.
Me too. Me too. What restaurant though? By you, what restaurant?
Okay, so we live on this street. So our housing neighborhood is on this busy street kind of, and it has probably 100 restaurants on this main street to get to the free. So we have sushi restaurants that range from like real cheap to like $300 omakase meals, like Chef's Choice flown in from Japan, or you can get $5 California rolls from a cheap place. There's like 10 sushi places in our house in the freeway. So it just depends on, is it my birthday that I'm going to go for the omakase like once a year? But yeah, it just, do we have our family of 6 with us? Because then we're gonna go for the
I totally get that. My fiance actually just surprised me. The sushi place that I love so much, it's called Ziree, Ziree. Pre-COVID, we'd go probably 2 times a month. COVID happened and they literally stayed closed all the way up until last weekend. So my fiance found out that they had reopened. So he surprised me yesterday, like in the middle of the week. It was so cool. And took me there. I was like, oh my gosh, they're open.
Free person, or are you a sushi roll person? What's your go-to?
So I order I love raw fish, anything. It doesn't matter. My favorite roll there isn't raw though. It's It's kind of like a shrimp tempura type. It's their signature roll. It's called the ziri roll. And oh my God, it's got the crab and the shrimp and the avocado and the cream cheese and the crumbs. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, I'll anything. It doesn't matter. He always orders something obscure, and it's always delish.
Yeah, I like nigiri a lot.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, I love sushi. I actually never had sushi until I was probably 28, 29. I had never had any sushi.
Yeah, I didn't grow up on it either. My parents weren't very adventurous, and
Yeah, same.
I branched out and started eating different things. Another go-to on Tuesday nights, there's this really nice restaurant that does dollar oysters. And so if it's Tuesday where we don't have my kids, my fiance and I are there eating dollar oysters.
Nice. My fiance would be right there with you. He loves oysters. He loves oysters. What is your favorite board game?
Scrabble. We like.
Oh my God, I haven't played that forever. Yeah. When's the last time you played it?
2 weeks ago.
What? Really? Wow, you must be really good at it. I'm kind of sucky at it.
Good at it. I'm not good at it.
Okay, next question. A hobby you always wanted to start but never got around to. Ooh, that's a good question.
Okay, so a hobby that I never wanted to start, but I've just gotten around to. I can give you that one. That is cooking. I did not. I hated it, and I didn't learn. And I gave myself a pass because I worked in the middle of the night, and then I was working 2 jobs. So we ordered Uber Eats and Postmates all the time because I had to feed my kids like healthy foods, but I didn't have time to cook. So recently, I've just realized that there's no reason that I can't learn how to do this. At almost 40 years old, I should like know how to cook. So I've kind of taken up cooking a little bit.
That's so cool. I just saw that's funny because I just saw your Facebook Live with that. And I was laughing. You were like, this is my 3rd meal or something like that. I'm like, this is so adorable. What have you cooked? Has it turned out good? Are you like enjoying your own food?
Everything that I've made is completely edible and not gross. So that is, I'm actually going to go live with my students in my Facebook group today, my tribe group, and we are making a healthy recipe together. So I'm kind of a disaster in the kitchen, but what I realized is where I was telling you before that nobody's going to change unless they want to, and you have to grow as a person because you want to. My fiance cooks, and so I just relied on him to either like cook for us or we would go out for dinner. And then I realized I'm not working 80 hours a week anymore. Like I can learn how to cook and make him meals too, instead of being reliant on him to eat. I want to be a good partner in that. And so that's why I started doing it. And I don't actually hate it. And I feel like I'm growing as a person. So yeah, that's a new hobby that I never ever thought that I would have.
I love it. I love it. That is so, and I was not expecting that answer. Last question. The one place you have to go before you die.
I have been out of the country on a cruise ship. So if the cruise ship hasn't taken me there, I haven't been. And because I lived so many of my years completely broke, I am in gratitude of going anywhere. So I have an appointment next week. I have to drive like an hour and a half out of town because you can't get a passport appointment here for like months. And I want to have my passport ready to like go somewhere if we want to go somewhere. And my fiance has traveled almost everywhere, like Africa and Asia and all these places. And he loves to travel. And so next week I'm going to get my passport and I'm going anywhere that we possibly can. I don't care where it is. Like, years of making up to do. So I'm just so glad to be in a place in my life where I can go see anything. So
That's cool. That's the same story as us. So I lived in lack for a very long time, never went anywhere, and saving. And then my fiance and his ex-wife they've been everywhere. They traveled everywhere. So he's always telling me all these awesome stories, and I just can't even relate because I've literally never left the United States. So I totally get it.
Yeah. So I'm excited to live life in a totally different way. So
That's cool. That's cool. So I always like to leave each podcast with some words of advice from our guest, which is you. So I have one last question for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to read it. For the mothers out there that are struggling financially, whether they have a man or not, how do they find the time to create an outside source of income? How did you even know how to do that?
So I did not know how to do it. Mine was based on me going into survival mode. I think just saying that if you set aside a half an hour every day, I replaced during that lunch break that I was going live for 30 minutes, I used to use that as my bath time. So instead, maybe take a quick shower and use whatever time that you were going to spend taking a long bath or watching a TV show, replace it with whatever it is that you want to do. And like I said, I'm doing the business coaching. If anybody wants to, I can help you without having the hours of order packing and all of that stuff. Also, including your kids in what you're doing. Will help your mom guilt of I'm away from your kids. Y'all have it, I think, and including them and making this into a thing that everybody can have jobs together. So yeah, that is my advice.
I love that. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Any closing words?
I am so honored, Sabrina, you invited me here with you and that I got to sit down with you because I think you are so amazing. And the women on your podcast have taught me so much that I just am so grateful that you allowed me to share my story with all of your followers. And so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for also taking some time out of your very busy day. And I want to thank everyone who has listened to this or is about to listen to this and for staying all the way through this entire thing. We appreciate the listening ear and we appreciate the love and the support. Thank you for joining us here on Her Version. If you have an amazing story to share, a struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here on this social media or on herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I am so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. I want you to have an amazing day. Much love.